G'day, it's Pat from Shen Productions. Thanks for tuning in to another guitar tutorial. I've decided to start 2026 off by covering only Australian artists. So today we'll be breaking down all the guitar parts for Lemonworld by Ocean Alley. If you like this one, let me know in the comments what other songs I should do. Alright, let's get straight into it. Firstly, let's check out this live clip real quickly for reference. Important to note, I can see that the pickup switcher is on the neck position. When it all gets done, thinking who I'll be, what have I become? So that's Baden Intro, lead singer and rhythm guitarist. He's most often seen playing a Telecaster. He starts this one off with 4 nice clean chords played on the neck pickup, as we just saw. I'm fairly certain that all 3 guitarists in this band are using amp modelers now, but they started out with your classic Fender combo amps, as can be seen here in this shot taken from the live Yellow Mellow EP 10-year anniversary. So I took the easy route today and plugged DI straight into Guitar Rig for these tones. Okay, so for the intro, I'm using a twin reverb replica. Sounds like this. And I've added a flanger. That's purely just going off the sound that I hear on record, and a nice short reverb. You could also experiment with changing it to a chorus instead of a flanger if you wanted. I like the flanger sound. There's also an option I've seen in some of the live videos, no flanger but a tremolo. Any of those will work. They all sort of lend to the psychedelic genre. Here's that chord progression. So that's an E minor, C, D, G progression. So the timing of the intro can be a little bit tricky, but I find it helpful to count in double time, 8 beats. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. The D chord doesn't land on beat 1, it's just after it. So it's helpful if we do our 1, 2, 3, 4. Do a little upstroke just to start off. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then in between the D and the G, we've got to get a up and a down stroke in because we want to be hitting that G on an upstroke. Then when we land back on the E minor, we're actually starting off on a D chord because we're playing the 7th fret there of the D, G and B strings, and then we hammer on the rest of the E minor chord. And if you're like me and your pinky is weak from snapping it in half once upon a time, you can get away with an E minor 7 without the pinky pressed on. Ocean Alley's music's riddled with minor 7th chords. So that once more is 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5, 6, 7, 8. Alright, and here's the main riff of the song, or the chorus part. Sounds like this. So we can see I've got a tube screamer on and no flanger. Okay, so the notes that we have for this riff are E, B, C, A, B, G, A, G, F sharp. It's crucial that in between each phrase, we add in a down, up, dead note strum. And the timing of it goes straight into the next phrase. So if we think about our phrases as the first note, and then we've got in between each of those, we need that down, up, and it's got to fall immediately before the next phrase. Here's what it sounds like on the bridge pickup. There's this guy yawning here. He's had a big night. We're looking at Baden's lead lick. So Baden's lead lick has a very twangy Telecaster sound to it, especially on the record. It sounds like a sitar. So that's pretty simple. It's a 5-note melody. We start on the B, then we quickly hit the B again. Now you can hit the same fret here, the 4th fret of the G string, or hit the open B string right underneath it. Those notes are going from B to D to E. And then on the second pass, we do the same thing, but instead of resting on that B note there, we slide all the way up to the F sharp. So. And then to finish it, we've got F sharp to G and back. And then we've got E to D and back. And then it finishes with a quick D to E. Then we go back to the same chord progression as in the intro with that overdrive turned off. Alright, in the bridge, it's hard to say exactly what's going on with the guitars because it's just awash with psychedelic vocals, big drum fills, a moving bass line, and heaps of organ. But the chord progression is as follows. You could get away with power chords through this section. And just add heaps of reverb and flanges and effects to make it washed out. One thing that makes Ocean Alley so good is their use of 3 guitarists, and Mitch Galbraith, brother to Lockie, the keyboardist, plays both rhythm and some tasty melodic parts. He's a lefty and plays a whole bunch of different guitars, but he's commonly seen playing a Strat, so I'll be using a Strat for his parts. Intro can have a little break, nothing to play here. Now the main riff, poor old Mitch doesn't seem to get a lot of airtime in Ocean Alley's live vids on YouTube. But my guess is that he's playing the same line that Baden's playing for the chorus riff, but obviously on a Strat and probably using a different pickup. His sound's going to be a bit thicker and complement Baden's tone nicely. Running the exact same setup as I did with Baden's guitar, just with a few minor tweaks to the EQ settings on the amp sim there. Let's check out how the riff sounds on the neck and on the bridge pickup of the Strat. For that post-chorus section, we're going to turn the tube screamer off. We're playing some reggae here, and we want a nice, clean, sort of fat tone. It's all upstrokes, and it's on the ands in between the beats. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. It's the same chords as the intro part, but it seems to stop on the C. Sounds like this. You could also play it like this. I'm not sure if it's Mitch or if it's even what's being played in this part, but there's a nice washed out wah affected guitar part. What I was doing there was just playing the same chords as the bridge progression, which was E minor, D, A, C to a B minor. But just playing the 6-string bar chord variants. 5 strings for the A minor one. Another option could be to just play the highest 3 strings of the guitar, so an E minor like this, a D like this, an A minor like this, C like this, and a B minor like this. So. That could also work. Angus Goodwin, the lead guitarist, he's got to be probably the main reason why I love Ocean Alley so much. The best way to describe his lead work, especially his solos, is drippy. They just sound so smooth and effortless with heaps of blues swagger to them. Again, nothing to play in the intro. When that main riff, the chorus riff comes in a few live videos that I've seen, Angus appears to be playing the exact same riff, just 1 octave higher, which would sound something like this. Same notes as before, E, B, C, A, B, G, A, G, F sharp. In the post-chorus, there's a real nice little dirty riff that sits behind everything here. It's a little unclear what's being played on the first one. I think it's something like... just using the A, G, and E notes. Something like that. And the second time around, again, I'm just guessing, but I think it sounds something like this. For the solo, I'm keeping it simple again. I'm using the same overdrive guitar, but I've just dialed the drive back a little bit, and I've added a little bit of delay, which always helps with this genre of music, particularly when playing lead parts. So for the solo, I'll play it through once at speed, and then once at halftime, and then I'll break down all the parts. We're starting here on this high A note, and we're bending it all the way up to a B, full step bend. Then we do a pre-bend release with a pull off. So that means we start up on the B, and we go down to the A, pull off to the G, and land back on the A. Then we slide up to the G and hit the E above it there. But what I can hear on the record is when we hit that G again, it sounds like it's already kind of a quarter bent up, and we bring it down. And then this bit's a little bit hard to decipher, but it sounds like we're hitting the E a couple of times and then the G, and then both together, letting them ring. With a little bit of whammy bar treatment. Then we move into this lick. So what that is, we're starting with an E, hammering on and pulling off to the G. Then we go up to the D note here, and we hit the E, back to the D. We finish that off by landing on the B on the 12th fret. So nail that phrase first. And we move on to the second phrase, which is grabbing this A note here and doing a full step bend. and then landing on the B note here and the E note here. We close that phrase off by landing on the D note there. Then the next phrase begins with a nice big full step bend, but it's done slowly from the A up to the B again. So from there, it's a bend release, pull off back to the G. And then it's a very short, sharp bend here on the A. It is a full step bend up to the B. And you just release it at the top and land on the G. And then we do a pull off from the from the E note back to D, and then land on the E. And then it's a little slide out downwards from this G. We hit that E, D, E, hammer on, pull off again. That whole thing once more is. Thanks for tuning into this lesson. I hope it was helpful for you. As I said, I'll be covering Australian artists only to start this year off. So if you have any other suggestions of songs you want covered, let me know in the comments below and I'll do my best to get to them. Cheers.